Soul mirrors, you have arrived. Relax and discover your greater life experience as we dive into the stories that need to be told. Angelic Oracle Kira Raa leads you on a journey of enlightened perspectives as she weaves together the elements waiting to be revealed and often not seen. Each week, co-hosts reveal their secrets and invite your sharing. A fascinating and dynamic hour that will leave your heart smiling and your soul singing. And of course, Kira Raa's famous mini soul readings. Be sure to call in. Ready to be amazed? Here is Angelic Oracle Kira Raa.
Well, namaste, beloved ones, and welcome to Soul Mirrors. You have arrived. I am Master Lady Kira Raa, and in this moment right now, as we take in that deep, beautiful breath of connection, what is your life reflecting? My heart right now is singing with the mastery presence of your radiant being. And I thank you for being here. Tonight is such a special night. I know you can feel it. We are in an up-level moment this Thursday, the 10th, when not only do we have that extraordinary new moon, but we have that beautiful Ring of Fire eclipse. And that Ring of Fire eclipse is going to herald the up-level that is going to catapult us into the June 19 through the 21 experience. And before you know it, my angels, it's July. Remember, we're currently in a 3-month period of expansion. Shri and I keep gigglingly calling it June, July, August. It's one word. And so who else but the magnificent, the amazing Jane Brinton to be here tonight as we talk about something that in its own cycle of reunion is reminding us all about this moment. So before we go any further, I want to remind you to jump into the phone lines right now. They are open. Give a call at 517-208-1500. Again, that's 517-208-1500. Remember, if you have a specific question for Jane or myself, you'll want to press *5 so that we know you're holding with that question. And so, beloved ones, I want to bring our hands to our heart right now. And I want to share something that happened right before we get on the air tonight. And I'm going to reach for a little cue card, so to speak, right here. Right before I got on the air tonight, as I spend all day with you, because Monday is Monday Magic Day for Shri and I. It means that all day we are in the energy and the presence of that delivery and what happens. And I do want to bow before all of you that are part of Monday Magic, and I thank you for being there. And Tuesdays, of course, are soul mirrors. And this morning became one of those moments where the concentric dimensionality of June, the heart ignition, and this incredible freedom. Do you see this? Do you see this incredible freedom that's coming out of this extraordinary rainbow spiral? All of that is coming in right now. This is that, I've been referring to it if you go deeper in here, because it's all coming out of this double infinite. So as we move into this week, it's kind of like, here's your ascension forecast, right? So for the week ahead, very much, this is your June 10 experience. It's going to be that double infinite energy. And I'm going to scooch over the side, because what it's doing is it's amplifying your freedom if you let it. Otherwise, it's going to feel just the opposite, like everything is closing in around you. And so it's very much a choice, and it's very much your choice to make. And as I have had the honor of spiraling with that energy all day long and feeling the way that the waves of consciousness are turning, feeling the way that the waters of the world are speaking, I literally woke up this morning, canceled the guest I had, and reached out to Jane and said, could you please be on the show tonight? Because it was so clear that the water is speaking. And then as I was, working with Jane, what also came in was that yesterday, when she and I had the pleasure of speaking on other things, she started talking about the circular economy. And what a lot of you may not know is that I was actually an economics major. And so when she started sharing this, when she started speaking about this, and when I was looking at the up level moment right now, and the water, and the creation, and the heart energy of this month, we are at, in this week right now, literally, and I know you're already feeling it, right? You're already feeling it. We are at a convergent moment. We are at a moment where everything is coming together. Everything that you've been wondering, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? All of that is going to be in front of you. And so the biggest question for you is going to be, are you ready to play in all of the dimensions and let go of the paradigms because they exist? How many are holding on to even spiritual information that was absolutely necessary to get us through those first 2,000 years? However, every once in a while, consciousness goes pop. And it was a little over 2,000 years ago that we had a pop. And this is how this circle has come together now. And so we are at another pop moment. What do we want to do with it? And that is what the water is saying. The water is pouring forward on all of us. And all we need to do is remember that the consciousness of the water is the consciousness we are as I am. At the end of the day, we are water. At the end of the day, your brain is 80% water. Your eyes are liquid water. You are ever creating, ever fluid, ever able to mold and be, to reverse age, and to be able to stand in your authenticity, knowing that you have the capacity, that you have everything that you need, everything at your disposal. And all you need to do is say yes to you. And here we are tonight in this extraordinary moment. And we are together, and I want to bring in the Ascension Up-Level calendar for June right now, just for a moment. And as you're gazing at this, notice what you're noticing, that June is a mirror month that in and of itself is water. Remember, the May was about what? May was the month where if you left the island, if you were on an island where you've been productive and feeling good and you've been really doing it, May was about staying there and getting clear on the choice. And if you made that choice to dive into the water of May, to know that it was polluted and to know that it was running a very strong current. And June is the mirror of the 3 gates, the first one, which opened May 1. So we are in a month of mirror energy. And look at this Thursday. I want you to gaze at the calendar. If you're listening to us, I want to share with you that if you're gazing at this calendar, what it's showing you is that there's this Thursday, the 10th of June, is the top of the stairwell. And so you'll see that we have been in this energy of the awareness of the choices that we have made. We are in the midst of this extraordinary Mercury retrograde. We are in a moment where, as a species, we are being invited to have a seat at the table if we so choose. And the price of admission is just allowing yourself to expand a little more, to remember that there's an infinite stream of knowledge for us to learn from, that we are never going to know it all, and that we pray that we are constantly aware of how wonderful that is, that we are expanding thereby as the spiral of consciousness that we eternally are. We're at a moment where we're being invited to innovate and uplift. And this very moment of up level, this double infinite that's happening when we go into this Thursday, the 10th, is offering us all the ability to truly, truly say yes to the heart of humanity. So I want you to breathe that in, and I'm going to take a sip of water. Thank you. And I'd like you to bring your hands to your heart, because if you've been listening to me or Shri and I, or all of us, for at least a year or two, then you've heard this before. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read 2 paragraphs from the Divine Directors. This is the now quote unquote famous installment. Because before I came on the air tonight, everything that I was just sharing with you, everything that was converging said, share this and then go forward. So as we bring our hands to our heart, and I want you to just really relax into you. And even if you've heard this before, why not try it on for the first time again? Here we are. All right, let's take in a deep Avesa breath. We're just going to go in with that inhale of the Ave and the exhale of the Sa with the smile. So let's go in. Sa. Imagine a world where with every breath and in every moment, you only saw each being as the highest potential of their being for this lifetime. Then notice you have already activated your star consciousness and have transcended the 3rd dimension without the need for conscious thought. Now, what does your life look like? What are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you living? What do you look like? What are you wearing? How do you feel? Here, the vastness of the journey unfolds. And there is a moment where your conscious breath calls you through the recognition that the body is not breathing. You are therefore called to instinctively pay attention to that which has just come forward. This is the moment of divine awareness and the opportunity to experience the vastness as a witnesser of the 5th dimension, witnessing itself as the 7th dimension. You arrive again as a witness, now fully choosing to enter the 9th dimension. Fully anchored in the compassion of the 5th dimension supports staying in a body of form without decay for as long as the experience serves the compassion for all who already are awakening. And I appreciate you breathing that in with me. Let's just breathe that in. Because the seeds have been out there. They've been out there for a while. And I want to just quickly put up the spiral time chart. There we are. So the seeds have been out there for a while. Many of them were planted right after the year 2000, because it was right after the year 2000. It was actually right after the millennium that we actually had this huge blast of energy that has brought us to where we are now. So in the one hand, it's been this extraordinary, momentous, incredible blast of mastery expansion, faster than we've ever done before. And it can be just that confusing as well. And if you gaze right here at the 2021 spiral time ignition, this spiral energy, what my heart is really smiling at is that in just a moment, we're going to talk about the water and we're going to talk about the circular economy. And my heart is smiling that in this very moment right now, if you gaze at this calendar, and if you're looking at the calendar, I want you to look right at where June is on the right-hand side. You'll see the little word June. And if you follow that counterclockwise, go up on that June circle, down through the eye, and you come back out on the July, what you're seeing is that this moment is getting ready to open up, to set the stage for a very profound second wave of energy. And so, of course, we're at a moment where everything is in front of us saying, hey, think broader, go wider, and be. Think broader, go wider, and be. The up level is calling that in, and it's 2 nights away, and it's right there on the new moon. And that happens to be the night, I am going to shamelessly plug it, that happens to be the night that the Avesa breath begins. This is a gift to humanity. This is a powerful gift. Go to ShriNkira.com and learn about it. So speaking of learning, before we go any further, I want to talk a little bit, number one, about my amazing co-host. And then before I bring her in, I'm going to play a little short film for you. My amazing co-host, I met last March, or maybe the end of February, through a guest who had been here, hey Midge, and here at Tosa Blue Mountain. And you ever meet someone and you immediately know you know them? And you immediately know that this person is someone that you are just so excited to meet again. And that's how I felt the minute I met Jane. And the serendipity that Jane happens to live 45 minutes away here in beautiful Cuenca, Ecuador. The serendipity that we met through the water and the water bearers is just a stunning affirmation of a life of true service. Before Jane comes on, I really do want to sing her praises, because Jane is a woman she calls herself a serial entrepreneur, and I giggle because I really get that. I am the same. And as a serial entrepreneur, Jane sees things and takes action. As a matter of fact, one of her recent Jainisms that I love is AIR, which is action is required. And in this moment is not action required. And when we call forward, and you know, as a young 20-year-old, Jane came into the United States, took it by storm. She opened up some of these first mobile discotheques and built this little empire around her, including assisting Madonna be Madonna. You know, she is an amazing woman. And then she had her moment that just said, wait a minute, you know, this is massively full on, you know, a hyper plus experience. What happens if I just say goodbye and I pull out a piece of paper and the word Nepal appears? And the rest, as they say, is history. A woman who spent 6 years working on a documentary, teaching herself how to be able to film and record and understand what's needed for true peace. Someone who has passionately dedicated her life and is a selfless servant of the waterbearers.org. Sincerely, we all owe Jane a debt for what she does for so many. She is an amazing being. And in so, as she and I were speaking yesterday, we had this robust conversation that led to this circular economic experience. And so I want to play the film. If you haven't seen it yet, I did have the link in our e-card if you're on our e-card list, but if not, I'm going to play the film right now. And then after we play the film, I'm going to welcome in Jane, and we are going to dive into an incredible conversation that I am very excited to share with all of you. All right, let me turn this on for you. Enjoy.
Living systems have been around for a few billion years and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, there are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
I hope you're applauding. And in that applause, let's welcome my amazing co-host, Jane Brinton. Jane, welcome. I'm still clapping. Hey, welcome, Jane. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be back here with you.
It's wonderful
Kira.
to have you. You're as always a fabulous addition, and so grateful to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. And it's seeing that short film again. When I first saw it a few years ago, it had such an imprint on me because it just made so much sense. It's like we think about and I just want to say that last week was World Environmental Day. Now, who even knew that it was a thing? And so we have all of these days, Earth Days, this day, and then Water Day. We forget. The next day, it's gone out of our minds. And it's like, we need to be paying a little bit more attention. And I know for me, I see all of the things. We're at a tipping point with the planet. We are conscious. We are a conscious society. We are aware, but unless we take the action, then it's just going to be the same thing, the same song until next year, until the next Environmental Day. So that's how you and I started the conversation yesterday, and it was fantastic because we were, we were getting loud talking.
Yeah,
about
we
it.
were. I mean, it was like, let's get loud, and we did. And I love that. I love that, and really gazing at the way the water is weaving that together. I want to first and foremost let everyone know, if you did not see that at YouTube yet, that film was made in 2011. And that really captivated me today. That really caught me. I mean, I loved, and at the time I happened to view it, it was like all ones and zeros. It was like, 1,110,000 and like one view or some fabulous number like that. When I was looking at it, and I thought, wow, that's a fabulous number of views. And then I saw the year. And what hit me was this, right? That we're in this spiral time experience, and that in the sidebar, as YouTube does, I noticed a very recent uptick in this conversation. And so you've been holding this vision. And so talk to me, is there an uptick, or do we need to be the uptick?
I think we need to be, let's breathe in some air here. Action is required, because I think, if you think back at Gertrude who was, you know, on the cover of Time magazine. I was a couple of years ago now, for taking on the young people taking on this this problem, and yet where are we with all of that? You know, you know, we can't turn around and say, well, the young next generation is going to handle that. They're not. We're partly to blame because we've encouraged all of the you know, the problems that we've created with the environment. So I think that we have a personal responsibility. And I'm just going to read a real quick quote here from the Dalai Lama. I actually posted this on World Environmental Day. It is our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the world in which we live. So, you know, we can't always expect government to get us out of a problem, our parents to get us out of a problem, our kids, you know. We can't always think about somebody else will handle it. It's not my job. Well, it is our job. It's our planet, and it's we have an opportunity to save it. And you know, when was the last time you watched a documentary on the environment? There are so many of them out there right now, and you're missing something if you're not paying attention to the messages that are coming through.
That's so powerful. You know, this is so powerful, Jane. Thank you so much for really bringing this forward, because this is also, as I was witnessing that movie, I think it's about the 5th time today I've watched it because I've really enjoyed really taking it in. It's Einstein. It's the invitation that says, let's rise out of how we created this and find the solution at a new way of being. And what is so potent here is that we are at a critical moment. We are at a critical mass moment. And here, this has been sitting there since 2011. And in this moment, there's enough momentum to start really paying attention. We have a new way of looking at currency since it first came out in 2011. We're in a whole new world of political maps since this came out in 2011. I mean, the past 10 years have shaped consciousness in a way that has brought us to this crossroads right now. So it seems to me that this was a beautiful seed that's been germinating in our consciousness that is ready to start finding a voice and a way of expression.
Well, I want to tell you something about Ellen Macarthur. She's now a Dame Ellen Macarthur in England because of what she's done. She actually, when she was young, she sailed solo around the world. And when she came home, she went full circle. When she came home, she said, aha. That's what she thought about when she sailed around the world. So talk about an aha moment. And this is when she came up with this idea and put it forward. And, you know, and even though it doesn't, you know, we don't see a lot of the things that are going on behind this whole idea, there are corporations coming forward. My question for you all is, would you be inclined to support corporations that follow circular economy?
Well, you know, Jane, not only do I love that question, I want to, because you know I have to, I want to take this into the level of consciousness, because what you just said has such profound ramifications, right? Consider this beautiful woman is out alone on the sea of consciousness that our beautiful new dear friend Veda Austin has proven the consciousness of water, and that while she is circling the globe, one with the consciousness of our beautiful mother, in her heart, she allowed the water itself to show her, here is how we can sustain. Here is how we can move forward. And so my heart, just as you're sharing, I need you to hear that my heart is just singing that everything you're saying is the water itself. It is the message of the water. And I'm just looking at how this came to be, that the aha moment came from all that time of being one with consciousness in so many different ways. I mean, wow. I just want to bow. Of course she's a dame. Of course. I mean, I just want to bow and thank you, because I know, I hope all of you are really taking in the profundity of this, of what's just happened here. And Jane, thank you for sharing that. And so what is her vision? What is the foundation? I mean, did she establish the foundation for this?
The foundation's huge. She established the foundation, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. It's in the UK. And I'll tell you some of the brands that are already on board.
Make a note, guys, make a note.
Nike, they're recycling sneakers. Burger King has redesigned their packaging to be reusable. IKEA is changing the way they make furniture. Adidas, Puma, Patagonia, clothing. The fashion industry, huge, because fashion industry is one of the biggest polluters on the planet. So, you know, we can't keep buying clothes and throwing them away. We can't keep buying computers and throwing them away. Right. So, you know, have you ever noticed when you trade in your phone now with Apple, if you have an Apple phone, you have an iPhone, they'll buy it back from you. So you buy a new one. So it's starting to happen, but we need to be conscious as well. We need to be thinking about it. I mean, why aren't we giving Coca-Cola their bottles back?
Great question.
First of all, if we think the reason we recycle is because it makes us feel good. It makes us feel not guilty for buying the stuff in the first place. Right. But actually, because the packaging industry is so big, the products are so much, the plastic it doesn't go away. So, you know, there aren't enough recyclable businesses, plants in the world to take care of all the stuff that we buy. We're the consumers. It's our responsibility. You know, they'll stop making it if we stop buying it.
Well, and what's so beautiful is it's circular. You know, this is one of the things, is that as we adapt into the spiral time experience right now, if we can bring a circular, if we can start thinking of wholeness instead of this linear separateness, then consciousness starts raising along with everything else. And this is a model that consciousness itself has called forward. Now it's up to humanity to really allow ourselves to grow beyond our own box. And the box is going to be the greed of how can this be interfaced, and the key is it can't. It's the lifting consciousness that will birth this model, because it was born from consciousness itself. And so it really is a fascinating thing.
I think as well, you know, I mean, I'm guilty of this too. I mean, I know, you know, we all know the top 10 things that we should be doing: conserve water, stop eating red meat. Right. And now if you've seen Seaspiracy, we can't eat fish anymore either. So, we know that's already in our awareness, but there's that magic word again, awareness. You know, we can sit and be aware for the next 100 years and do nothing. So it's time.
Well, I want to jump in on that, if you don't mind, because first of all, it is a month of awareness right now. So I love that you're focusing on that awareness issue, and that I'm going to go back to your acronym, right? Action is required. When we are aware, we're always in this eternal cycle, whether we're aware of it or not. We are constantly in this cycle of awareness, experience, choice, awareness, experience, choice. The question is, are we consciously aware? So what is it you're aware of? And each is aware, or substitute awake if you want, to the level of consciousness that's meeting what we're willing to see beyond that which we've seen before. And then the limitation begins when we come into this density consciousness of scarcity. And this is the other thing I love about this model. This is a model of abundance. This is a new earth model of abundance that says, and Jane, this is where I like bringing in the water bearers, and what I'm dealing with up here at the clinic is that there are enough resources for everyone to have water. There are enough resources for everyone to have food. There are enough resources for everyone not to be in anything less than a sustainable life. And that's what this model represents, which is in direct contrast to the models that we're seeing right now. And it is time to start lifting the consciousness and proactively create the models. And this is what I think we saw. I want to go back to what you mentioned earlier. I think this is what we saw a few years ago. And I am so with you that in my heart and soul, I know now I'm 60, so I'm at the tail end of it. I'm 1960, so I'm right at the end, right? But my generation let down this generation in my world because we started something so magnificent and then we lost our own way. And for those few of us like you, all of us serial entrepreneurs, right? All of us that have been around the block more than once, but are still here because we know we're not done. And we know that together we are better. And we know that if we can come together and let go of what we think age looks like and collectively respect what we can each bring to a table of wisdom, isn't that the circle? And so I'm just in love with all of this, and as you can tell, very passionate about it.
It's fantastic. I mean, I think that what are you prepared? I mean, I'm looking at a list too. We know there's so many things that we can do. We already know that. We're already aware of that. But what is going to make us? What is that trigger that's going to make us actually do it? Am I going to actually, I love steak. Am I going to give up red meat? I need to, I want to.
I know.
So all of those things, recycling, saving water, all of those things, think about it. Think about the way you use water. For instance, here in Ecuador, it takes a long time. We don't get hot water immediately from the tap. We waste a lot of water getting it warm. That's true. So what I do, I keep a bucket underneath my sink and I fill the bucket with the cold water first. And then I use that to water my plants. Great idea. So simple things like that can make a difference. Go to a restaurant and take your own takeout little plastic container, your Tupperware thing. Take it with you, keep it in your bag, because there's no reason why we don't need straws either. We can pick up a glass. We can, we don't need straws. Think about all of the things that we are willing to say no to.
Well, as you're sharing and I'm receiving everything that you're sharing, what I'm also experiencing is that you're reflecting a higher level of consciousness. And so everything you're describing is automatic because your level of consciousness has attained a moment of awareness that you do it because it's just the right thing to do. It's not about what the ego wants. It's because you're seeing beyond the me and you honor the we, which is the one. And this is why these two, it's really this seesaw, isn't it? It's very much about the lifting consciousness. And this is where I keep seeing the two coming together. So the more that you do what you do, that we do what we do, that each of us, I know all of you listening to this show, right? The more that we do what we do, our individual presence, the greater others lift to that presence as well. And Jane, you just did that. Guys, that Jane has been out there in Cuenca selflessly serving. Jane, talk a little bit about the past week, what's been going on and what you've done. I mean, Jane has just been literally like the shining armorous woman everywhere this past couple of weeks. So share with us, sweetheart, because my gosh, you've been doing a lot.
This week, a couple of weeks ago, we had a tremendous amount of rain and a lot of flooding, and the rivers overflowed, and several people, almost 100 homes were gone, and hundreds of people were without water and lost all of their belongings. So I knew, as being, first of all, my responsibility is as a person who lives in Cuenca. I live here, so I want to help anybody that this is my community. This is my home. So my adopted home. So, and I knew with the water bearers, I had filters here. I delivered 100 filters. That's $5,000 worth of filters to the local government here. And I've been working with them now for 2 years. Anyway, identifying people, 40% of people in this country do not have clean water. So I've been working with the local government to, to identify those people. And we were able to deliver the filters. And now this week, I'm going to be going back with them to meet some of the victims that are going to be receiving the filters. So, that's just one thing. But also as an organization, we've also just given the go-ahead today for 2 more wells, 2 more boreholes in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
I mean, it's fantastic what's going on there. And we are so delighted. In fact, our wonderful lady, Precious, who lives in Zimbabwe, who has been our little guiding light there. She's been telling us about these communities and interviewing them. And when we find out that women and girls, young girls, 12 years old, are walking 20 kilometers to go get a bucket of water, and then they have to go home and they have to cook the meal or go get the wood for the fire to cook the meal. They can't go to school because they don't have time, So the fact is they're putting a borehole right in their community. That's saving them 4 or 5 hours a day of walking. So, and now we're already seeing from other boreholes we've already done there. They're growing vegetables now because they're close to the water. They're selling. They have enough food for their village. Plus, they're selling the excess. They make money on the excess. So now it's creating jobs for these.
Right.
Right. And now with the money that they're making on the vegetables, they're paying the money to send their children, their girls, to school, to boarding school, which is how it's done over there. So it's the ripple effect, the trickle down effect of giving somebody clean water is just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, no, it is, again, for me, giving someone clean water is literally pouring consciousness into someone's experience. It's like what happens when you take a shower. How do you feel? How many people sing in the shower? How many people release endorphins when they're in pure water, right? When that radiant water, and how many of us forget how blessed we are to be able to do that, especially a hot shower. I remember when Sri and I lived in Guatemala, Jane, we did a lot of water work there ourselves. And I will never forget this beautiful young woman who was working with us at Tosa La Laguna, freezing cold weather, freezing cold water coming out of the tap. And we had the availability of hot water. And I asked her why she was using cold water to wash the dishes. And the belief among them was that, oh no, hot water will give you arthritis. And so they would never, I had to literally teach her how to do that. And to use water to wash your hair, to use water to wash yourself, more than just dipping in a very polluted area of the lake, was considered extravagant. And so literally Sri and I had showers and soaps and all kinds of different conditioners and hairs, and women crying in my arms saying no one ever, quote, loved them enough to even give them this. So it's when you talk about Precious and what's happening over there, and I know it's happening here, and you know it's happening here, what you and I both know firsthand is the power of water in every way. And this feels like a downpour right now. It really does.
And I just want to say that Precious, we're going to be together. We're going to be physically going to be together on June the 19th for the solstice.
Yes.
And we're going to have more fun.
I'm so excited.
3-hour broadcast. And Precious is going to be on the call. She's going to call in. And so you'll hear from her from Zimbabwe.
I am so excited. So, hey, everybody, if you have not registered for June 19, why? Please go to ShriandKira.com right now. register. This is a gift to the world. Now, it is a fundraiser. However, you can go in and register and then let your heart flow with us, because this is a big moment. Jane, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited that Precious is going to be there. What a gift for all of us. And this is that magic of and you're going to be here, and Erin will also be here from the Water Bearers, and the Dr. Lorena will be here from Clinica Linda. And this is part of that weaving and that beauty. And Jane, speaking of weaving and beauty, we have a lot of people who have been waiting to talk to us. And so
Okay.
may I bring in some guests? Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, let's bring in some guests. I'm going to go over to the call board, and thank you all of you for holding. How loving and beautiful. All right, well, it looks like we're going to begin. We're going to go to, it looks like, hey, Albuquerque, Shri and I's old stomping grounds, going to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hey, Albuquerque, namaste and welcome. I hear music. Hi. Or not. Okay, God. All right. We're going to have to come back to you later, sweetheart. Nice music. All right. We're going to move right over here. We're going to go to California. Hey, California. Namaste. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kira. Hi, Jane. This is Pulseet from California.
Hi, sweetheart. Namaste. Welcome, Angel.
Namaste. Thank you. And also thank you, Jane, for being on the show today. I wasn't going to call because I had talked to you last week, but I saw the video and I just was called to try and see if I could get in. I just wanted to say thank you, Jane, for bringing this information back to the forefront. I think that many of us are, definitely emotionally invested in this. And I remember also watching the Story of Stuff project video around maybe the same time, 2010, maybe 2008. And I just remembered how passionate I was at that time. And I think that's when I was in my spiritual activist stage. And so I was telling people what to do and being very aggressive about it. And I don't think I really got my point across. But eventually I learned that we all are consumer activists and really have to think about where and how we spend our money, because we are in a capitalistic society and we have to fix from the inside out. So all of our decisions matter, and we definitely need to think about what we do. And I'm so grateful for you and Shri, because I feel like it's always been there, the vice that we have around us in making the decision that really aligns most with our spiritual highest self. And it's getting harder and harder, especially with Corona and everything going on. It's harder to make the right decision, and we need to continue to make decisions that are best for everyone in everything that we do. And I think it does come back down to being aware in every moment of what we're doing and trying to remain in our I am present. So thank you so much for this, and it just got me even more excited to continue on. Even if I am a little preachy sometimes, it's okay. I'd rather leave the world a better place.
Oh,
Great.
Jane, anything you'd like to share, sweetheart?
That was super. You said that perfectly, and you're right. We were thinking about those things way back when, and then what happened? We forget. We need to bring it all back. So keep preaching.
Yeah, sweetheart, thank you so much. It was really a blessing for your sharing this afternoon. Thank you. Namaste. Mwah. All right. Jane, are you just feeling that love? Because I sure am. How about you?
Yeah, it's great.
See, this is the gift. This is the gift, is that, and this is why I know this is why I've been, reverse aging, is because this is where the juice is, to say, wait a minute, just because the world might not have been at the right insertion point in spiral time in 2011 doesn't mean this isn't happening, because we have this amazing woman who sailed alone around the world on the sea of consciousness and came back with something so eloquent and so supportive of our abundant nature. And that brings us to this moment right now, because we are in an awareness moment. And really the awareness is, before us all right now is our abundant nature and our not so abundant nature. And the key is that when we're conscious of it, just as you were talking about earlier, we don't need the straws. The other day, as a matter of fact, I celebrated that I bought a whole bunch of bamboo straws. I felt very, very good about that. And, little things, because I think I've mentioned to you as well, lately for me, it's lighters. I have a real problem with these people and all these plastic lighters, and that they're not refillable. And, whatever happened to a good old fashioned lighter you had for life, there's just this energy of the plastics for me are jumping out right now really strongly. And again, this type, and just bringing us right back, because I really do want to go back there for a minute, this type of experience that we're talking about, this type of circular economy, not only solves that, it invites actually a greater abundant stream for everything. Am I wrong here?
A lot of these things were there already. For instance, why, when we went to a cafeteria, or we would have sugar on the table or ketchup on the table. Now we've got these tiny little packets. What for? Why
Right.
do we need all those tiny little bits of plastic to throw away? Why are they having to portion us and
Right.
pollute the planet at the same time? So a lot of these things already have been there, but we've gotten away from that. We used to get water from, we used to take our containers, and there was a machine outside the supermarket.
Right.
We need to go back. We
Right.
need to take the word disposable and turn it into reusable.
I love that.
So we just need to be, we don't need all these new things. Let's go back to the big thing of sugar. If you take sugar, we don't need the packets, the little individual packets. So just think about it.
Well, I love it because again, I just, me, Jane, I have to come in and do my Kira thing. I see it as, the going from that separation back to oneness, right? When we can all be in the one bag of sugar together, there is an energy of wholeness. There is an energy of abundance rather than an energy of scarcity and lack. And again, it goes back. This is a consciousness model. This is a consciousness shift. It's like the whole dynamic is so interwoven, and brings us to, we only have a couple minutes left on the show. It brings us to that moment of, if your dream was granted right now, what would it be around this experience of this circular economy?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh boy. Well, it would be, my dream would, for everybody, first of all, my dream is already for everybody to have clean water on the planet. It's a human right. There's no reason why we can't fix this. Absolutely no reason. And yes, let's save the planet. It's worth saving. If you go watch Avatar again, if you want to see what it could be like, it's up to us. It really is up to us. And so let's just take one or two things that we do, and we do consciously. We're going to say, okay, I'm going to choose this off this list, and I'm going to do it consciously. And I'm not going to let me down, and I'm not going to let the world down.
Right. I love that. And then the one thing I just want to share to everyone right now is, please choose consciously to hear Jane say even more, and to learn more about what Jane is doing, and be there June 19th. And as Jane just gave us this big reveal, Precious is going to be there from Zimbabwe with a live hookup. There's so much to share, because right now, in this moment, in this energy of this week, as we timestamp in this show right now, what we are setting in motion, what started in 2011, is ready to find a voice again right now. In this moment, let us put this stamp, this marker in, and say, we can begin simply with our conscious intention and the awareness that there's more ways to look at things than perhaps we've been aware of. And so, Jane, I'm excited that we're going to be together again on June 19. We have about 30 seconds. What would you like to share with everyone?
Well, let me see. I think just be a conscious, really just be a conscious consumer. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You know, we are responsible. And I would just hope that that we can really make a difference. You know, we've heard from Greta and 10 million young people that, you know, all went out and hit the streets and said, we need to do something. And let's see they need help. We all need help.
Right?
We all
Let's
need
help
to,
each other.
we all need to, you know, it's more than just marching and complaining to government. We need to do this ourselves.
I love it. I love it. And it feels like together we are better and that indeed we are moving forward. And so please move forward. Action is required. AIR ... Jane Brinton. And please go ahead and make a note on your calendar right now, guys. This Thursday, Up Level Night. Join us. Be there. Learn the Avesa breath. This is a moment. It's our gift to humanity. It's all at shriandkira.com, as is registration for the June 19. This is a moment. It's a multicultural celebration. We are coming together in the heart of humanity for the heart of humanity. And Jane will be there again. And Jane, thank you for being here tonight. I am so grateful you took my email at 6 o'clock this morning. I love it. You're the best. Oh, I love you. Thank you, Jane. Many blessings. And thank all of you. Thank you for joining us at Shri and Kira Live. To have your questions answered, send us an email to guest@shriandkiraradio.com and check out more information at shriandkira.com. See you next week. Namaste.